All right. Uh, Welcome back, everyone. My name is João Pedro. I'm a mine engineer at DataMine. I'm here with Rajar, also a mine engineer at DataMine, to present you the sixth section of our mining planning campaign. Today's session, we're gonna talking about the reserves ribbon. Okay. Today, we're gonna present a different type of uh, webinar. So instead of only receiving questions, only answering questions at the end of this presentation, we're going to make a pause in the half of the presentation after mining blocks, and then a pause of 10 minutes, depending on the quantity of questions, and then a second pause at the end to answer the rest of the question. Okay, so please, as the questions appear for you, please write it down. So as usual, let's uh, start with a quick review of everything so far. So at the first webinar, we in NPV, we taught you how to choose the best LG phases for you to make Pete. Then we went to Studio P to teach you how uh, our automatic Pit design tool works. Then we come back to NPV to generate pushback and generate sequence. In our last webinar, Terence, we, we came back to OP again, and Terence taught you how our evaluation technique works. So today's webinar, as I said, we are we are going to see the reserves ribbon. So first, I'm gonna show you the reserves workflow, then our Pit solid creation, and then our data set creation. So these are reserves workflow, how the software, the sequence that our software used to create our mining blogs and prepare our data for schedule. Okay, for those who already received tutorial from or for us data mine or a venture through the health file. All these pictures are very friends. So at first, our first step, we need to set our block model, our topography, and our pit as some and add some attributes as the quantity of pushbacks and the bench height. Okay. Then in our second step, we we get into the reserves ribbon when we input our pit strings or our pit DTM, and then the software will create a solid with those surfaces and the topography, and the last step will flag every bench of this solid. Okay. After we create our solid, we're gonna design our mining blocks. Studio P has three different ways to set the mining blocks. We going, I'm gonna show you all the three ways. Then we made a evaluation, and then we add our dependencies. Okay, so let's go to Studio P. Here we can see our pushbacks. Okay, but before we went to reserves ribbon, we need to change our block model because, as you remember, Terence used this ribbon in our second webinar to design our pit. So he set this as our block model, but we spent two webinars only work with block model to set sequence, to set our pushback. So we can use this update one. Okay, we also also need to assign some fields. for this block model. So some of them came automatically, but the studio recognized from NPV, but some not. So we need to, for instance, the local region and the grades, you need to set by yourself. And you need to take care about this label as well, because the default is percentage, but if you're using gold, as our case, we need to change to part per million, all right? To add the new block model, just add copy and select your file. Changing here as well, we just need to save and go to our reserves ribbon. Here is very straightforward. The process, we start at the first button on the left and ends here in create data set on the right. And we will follow every single available tool here for us. Okay, so here in add DTM, as I said, here we input our strings or our DTMs. So if you design your pits and your pushbacks using the auto design, our strings and DTMs will be automatically loaded here. But if not, just click in these three dots and select your string. Okay, I can display them here for you to see. Okay, and if I have these strings, only the strings, I need to create all the pushbacks to generate wireframes. Okay, one important thing that just few people use is this P data window. So this is very useful because as you see, I check my strings and my DTM, and here also checks. Okay, so if you are starting, probably those other fields are not with dots. To save us time, I already did the process. Okay, so I have more files that view now, but as we moving on, this will be adding. So we can select what you want to see real quick, and even in task window or in 3D, we can display everything that we want very, very quick, very easy. Okay. So after we create all, we need to save and let's move on. If you don't save, no problem. When you pass to another tool, DataMine will warn you if you want to save or not. So it's up to you. Here in our create solid, we need to create as well. We have this is the input. So these are DTM phase. And this tool creates the solids with the topography. Okay, you can display the topography to check if the correct one. And also merge the topography with the pit. So here, if you don't know how to use our surface tool or update DTM to do this, you can use the create solid and it does for you automatically. Okay, so we can see all, we can note it here, the dot get filled. All right, so now let's go to bench solid when the software will flag our solid into benches. Okay, so you can note it by the color change from the lower bench to the upper one. You can go here in home and dynamically to see, and you can see here below phase we have a field called benches that in this case is 8, but if I go up, goes to 7, 5, 4, and so on. Okay, so those who want to use evaluation by bench can use this solid as well. Let's go to reserves. So this is our phase. This is our phase solid creation. Right. Now I'm going to mining blocks. As I said, we have three ways of creating mining blocks. We have automatically, grid, and manual. Noted that the older version of Studio P doesn't have the grid. Is a new tool in this 2.7. So please update your software to have this tool. So first, if you choose the auto generate mining blocks, you need to set first your time frame. The time frame is you telling the software what the size of your mining block. So we can generate monthly, weekly, daily, quarter, and yearly mining blocks. It's up to you. So here in this example, for instance, I'm generating monthly for 12 months mining blocks. Then I'm generating quarter mining blocks for 2 years, and then the rest yearly mining blocks for 10 years. Okay, but how the software knows how long is a month, a year, a day? So to answer this question, we need to tell the software a prediction. So with that prediction, with our mining rate, the software can make the calculation for years, quarters, and months, etc. In this case, I'm going to use 1 million tons per year, and then just create blocks, and then the software will make the calculation for me. Okay, cool. Now can show my solids and my outlines. And here you can see those blocks, those first blocks here in my first phase are different from that. They have different size compared to the other ones. So this is very, very interesting if you want to generate quick mining blocks, only for see how your schedule goes. You see, so we mine the first bench, the first phase first, and then go to generate the quarterly blocks and then the yearly blocks. So we have this option. Okay, I like to use the grid option. For me, it's easier, and I can have control. I generate uniform blocks, so for me it's better. Okay, so the grid option is very, very easy to use, very straightforward. We need to set three things. So we need to let the software knows where, which our reference, so each coordinate the grid will start. I can insert my coordinates here, or just clicking in a point and it picks the coordinates. I need to tell the software my azimuth as well, so it's up to you, and my grid dimension. After that, I just create solids, create cutters, and show cutters here, and it will show us the new cutter. And if you are happy with this result, you just click in create blocks. I already did that. Okay, I use my anchor point and the origin and no azimuth. So this is my grid that I choose for this section. but is totally up to you. Here we see three options. If you noted in the phase section here, and these merge solids with an area below doesn't appear, only appear these remove solids by volume and remove solids by thickness. So I'm going to explain those two first. But instead of going to this ribbon and select what I want to show you, I will just hide my cutters and my solids and display here in PT data my phase solid. So it'll be easy to understand. So sometimes when you are designing with pushback, appear some solids, floating solids that's not part of the main solid here. This happened because unfortunately the design was not good. So we have two options: or redesign and adjust those details, or increasing the remove solids, or increasing those two options here: the remove solids with volume below and remove solids with maximum thickness below. Just be careful, because if you put a very big number here, probably you will lose some blocks here that you don't want to lose. So the safest way is redesign. So not redesign, but just adjust your pushbacks. Okay. So now I can go back to my grid. Show solids. So this new one also only available on Studio P 2.7 is where it's to merge our small solids. So let's pick an example. This is small triangle here. In that case, if let's suppose this area is below 10, the Studio P will try to merge them. Will merge them with the blocks aside. So in this example, we have this upper solid and this right solid. So which one Studio P will choose? The perimeter will be the length of the shared boundary. Okay. In our case, this boundary is larger than this one, so the Studio P will merge those two into one. All right. Very easy as well. And let's go now to the manual design, mining block design. A very cool thing about our software is that you can use the auto or the grid generation and then use the manual to adjust some benches. So just before that, let's just explain the interface here. I can select my phase, my pit, and if I want to see my solids or my outlines, okay, and even display by block model. Here I have all my benches, my cutters and the blocks. So as you can see, everything is yes, because I already generated the grid. Okay. So as I told you, I can go to just for an example, I can come here in this bench and notice like there's too many blocks here, and I can clear my cutters and then generate my mining block again, only for this bench, so it won't affect the overall. And now I have only one big block. Okay, so another exercise that people like to use this is displaying our block model, and then change the legend to, for instance, to know where is your R. So here we can see that my R is the green and my weather rock is the red. So I want to separate my R from my waste. So I just click here in new string and design as I like to separate them, and then click only in generate. And now you can see I have two different blocks separate. So if I go up, I'm still having the grid, but this bench is different because I like that way. If I already have the cutters I can import from here, I can make the same way, this way for the bench below. I can pick the cutters from above. There's a lot of options for us. I can clear all my blocks, or I can generate all my blocks. So it's up to you. Okay, this is very, very interesting. And not everyone knows how to use it. Okay. So now let's go to attributes. This is very important. Okay, because the attribute will be the tool. For instance, if you forget to add, or if you want to add some fields in your mining blocks, as for instance a different mining block name, different block ID that you use in your mine that is different from what Datamine generates, is here the tool when you add this new field. Okay, so again, this is also a tool that only a few clients know how to use, but it's very easy, it's very important, very useful. Okay, so here we add our attributes, our attribute name. We say if it is alphanumeric or numeric one. If it is alphanumeric, you need to set a length, for instance. Okay, okay, let's multiply by 4, so 12. And here is where I give it these attributes, this field, an expression. Okay, if you notice, I can click in edit. If you notice, it's very similar to our extra command, because this attribute tool is an extra command, but more user friendly. Okay, so for instance, instead of typing declarate attributes here and then write the formula, there is a different space, a different area to do those things. Or instead of me put an if, to say if it's or, please do this, I can set my filter here. I can create, I only apply those formulas for my or, for my waste. Okay, very, very cool. In our example, I did change my block ID name. I can test if my formula is correct. Okay, and in that case, my block ID name will have my phase number, underscore my elevation, underscore the last 3 digits of my block ID that represents my block number. Okay, I want to apply this for everything. So after that, I just click in run or run out if I have more than one option, and then save. This we can check those results here in our project folder in OP database, scenario 1, data, and then block outlines. We have this block file. And then here the left, you can check if it's applied for every block. Okay? Very easy, very straightforward. Okay? So now let's go to constant. Here, basically, you give a number, a name. So in our case, as we have our gold project, using this troy ounce to convert grams to ounce will be very helpful. I can use those values. I can use this constant here. Okay, just click and add, and it will add for us. And our last tab called interactive, it suffered upgrade in those recent in our recent version. So Taban, our colleague here from DataMine, did a webinar explaining detailedly everything in this tab. So it won't take long from my part. I'll be attaching this webinar tomorrow when I will send you this record. Okay. Just let's wait a little bit. So basically, this tab is for us to select manually which block we receive our attributes. Okay. Normally people use these to different size like zones. So I just come here, like my attribute, say like west zone, and then I have way to select my blocks, and all these blocks that I selected would be flagged as west, then just apply to select. Or I can use string, but then Taban explain better. So I'll use this example to explain this clip using benches and filter using benches. We received this question in our last webinar. So let's explain now. What is this? Very, very simple, very useful. I use a lot. So we can see here that everything is blocks, okay? Blocks and some strings. And when I clip using my bench, I see my first bench only strings. I don't see blocks. Why? If you go to views, we can see that my width is almost 0. So it's very thin area showing to us. So this is very good when you are designing. If you want to see the strings only in this elevation, okay? And then we can go down by one elevation, okay? Using these arrows, going up, going down. We can see one more. Could see one more bench or only this bench. So it's up to you. But now let's see what's happening in filter using bench. It shows us the blocks, okay? It shows us the entire bench. So this is good for us to select blocks. When your schedule, I want to not undermining, to not pick a block for a bench below. I just filter using bench, set which bench I want to see, and then select all the blocks or some blocks that I want on this bench. If I'm good, I'm just go one below and continue the process. Okay. As I told you, I can increase this number to 1. And then something, okay, it's because it's loading. And then it shows us the next bench. Okay, so these are the difference. Okay, so now I finish my mining blocks section. We can have questions. Let's have a 10 minutes break to reply some questions. Hajar, are you there? We'll be able
Yes.
to get the video. Yes. Yes, I will send you this record probably tomorrow. Okay, with all the others webinar as well.
We have another question from Timur. So he's saying, is there an option of automatically create trim shots together with regular grid blocks? I would like you to explain more. Can I unmute you, please, Mr. And you can explain more your question. You can unmute yourself if you want to talk.
Hello, can you hear me?
Hello. Perfectly.
Yeah, good. My question is about automatically created mining blocks. Since I'm actually a user of OPMS mining software, but I am also interested in what Datamine can provide with mine scheduling tools, because it is very interesting, especially the last couple of years, what is happening with your software, and we are very excited in what's going on. But at the same time, having the practice of using the OPMS, where I can create the mining blocks as regular blocks, and also I can create or import the irregular shapes for the blocks for the short-term scheduling. But also in OPMS, I can create additionally, automatically create the trim shots plus the blocks for the ramps. If my question, if there is an option, I mean, automatically created trim shots and maybe the ramp blocks together with just regular grade. You call it just grades, yeah, grade blocks, whatever.
Yes, excellent question. Thank you very much. Basically, when you what we call as creating your mining blocks on your RAMs, it's more like than a short-term thing. So
Yep.
basically, you can have your mining blocks on 3 ways, as you see with JP, João Pedro here. So the first thing is the automatic one, is like you're going to cut, you just want to cut your blocks with your tonnage. Means that it doesn't matter the shape for you. I have a like 15, 20 years of life of mine. I want to know just the shape of my pit up to 10 years, 15 years. Then the grid is more of regular cutting the blocks using a reference point. So you can create your reference point for the pit, and you have the same grid for all the benches. For the next release, we want to change this one, and the grid will be by benches. So here you can more bring your idea of ramps. So I have that grid, and I can change the start point to follow my ramp. So it's going to create the grid or the mining blocks accordingly. But that is very helpful that we have the combination, the combination, to combine the grid and the manual. Exactly. So I have now my grid, and as João Pedro show you, that you can switch on your block model and cut a smaller mining blocks that they are ore blocks. The same thing can happen, and you just have your grid, you go manual, you just change the grids that they are close to the RAM. So easy, you can create your grid on the term of the trim shots and also the ramp. But you can show them, JP, if you can go back to manual, please, and you can show them that you have spoken about importing already existing one. So that also is available there. So you can there import your cutter string. So you just import them as a string, and it's going to apply for all of the cutters.
Yep.
Yeah.
This is the only way where I can prepare the mine shapes within some the data mine open pit, open cut, what's it called? Because I'm actually a newbie for the data mine products, because I'm more like SURPAC user, and the data mine world is new to me, and I'm really interested, because we are on the way of probably purchasing the software. Not sure will it happen or not, but we want this software on MineSight in any way.
That's great. So what do you think if we can send you an email after this webinar, so we can schedule a session, an online session with you one to one, face to face, and we can have all this conversation apart. Is that okay?
Yeah. Great.
Perfect. Thank you very much, sir.
Yep. Thank you. Obrigadas.
De nada.
So, does anyone has any other question? If not, I will follow our programming here.
And I just want to add one more thing, João, is imagine doing all of these cut and fill, creating solids, cut them bench by bench, then cut them by strings. So imagine if doing this manually with all the boolean and all the extracts separate, and all of them now they are on a straightforward process from left to right. Add your blocks, cut them. So basically it's very user friendly, plus it's really not taking time of your project and of your day.
Yeah, makes the work for you. You don't have to think a lot. You just follow the steps and freaking create.
Exactly. We don't want to waste time on creating blocks. We do want to think about our mining blocks, to think about the best way how to schedule. So we're going to invest all the time that we spend on doing this. Now you can use it on important process as well, an important like schedule, etc.
For sure. Thank you, Maja. So let's move on, okay, to our reserve section. This is where the software brings all the information from your block model to your mining block. Okay, so here you can notice that the model here will be applied for our mining block will be is the same one that we input in our setup ribbon. And our legend here is our category. So in our case, we are using destinations as categories like plant and dump. But some mines like to use low grade, medium grade, high grade as category. So it's up to you. I can change for whatever I want. If I want to change to lithology, like ore, all the ore, I will mining, doesn't matter the grade. So it's up to you. Just be careful because this legend will be the same one as used in schedule. So this is the category using here in our reserves, and again will be used in your schedule. So choose wisely what you want to do. Okay. Then we just click in evaluate blocks. And after that, we can see our reserves, our table editor reserve. And here are fields as well, but we have also tons, volume, and everything else. One cool thing that people normally don't use, but like I don't know why, it's like one of the best solution is this report tab. Okay, if I click here in show report, it will generate automatically a spreadsheet, Excel spreadsheet, and then I can quickly create reports, pivot tables, and graphs. Let's make one quickly. Tons by destination, by phase. So here I can easily generate some reports to see if I design well, if my results are good, okay, to have a better notion what's happening in my mind. So, but if we already have a template, if I already have some tables and graphs that is standard for every presentation, for every report that you're going to present, we can just save as normal spreadsheet and then add them here on our template file. So just clicking these three dots, here my reserves template, and here I can give it a name, webinar 06. I need to set as well the sheet name where all these information are going, which sheet. My case is database, and then show report. And then, as you can see here, add the table and the graph. What is good to do is just refresh all. So if you change your block model, if you change your piece, you can add the template and then just click in show report, and then on Excel, just refresh your Excel, and then the same format that you want to present to your boss will be available. Okay, we can move on to attributes on reserves. These attributes work at the same way as the attributes in mining blocks, but now I have the block model information, so I can create different types of attributes. Okay. Normally, people use to generate our drilling fields or our controller fields, because now we have tons. We can calculate how many drilling meters we have in each block. Okay, I'm not going to do this now. because our project is a long-term project, but here is the place, and works the same way as I already present to you. Okay, so now we can move to our last section, our dependencies. So we have two dependencies, the spatial and the sequence. So the spatial dependency is very important because it avoids undermining. Okay, so for those who doesn't know, undermining is when you pick a block before you mine the upper block. So what you can, and here we have three options when we don't consider our phases, or when the second option is where you consider our phases independently, and the third option is where we consider our phases independently, but there is a connection between them. Okay, I can show you these results. Here is up to you how you like to set your dependencies, but I like to use this one. Okay, you can see the blocks, like I said, independently, the phases. All right. And then our last, the dependencies is the sequence. So here we take a little bit. Those are the same projects, okay? I'm just picking a different because it can take a little longer to open. So normally these options are not available for most of the clients because some of them don't use scheduler, so we don't have a sequence field in your block model. So normally it's only this custom sequence available. Okay, as we already almost out of time, I'll be quick here. So the studio already bring from the block model my sequence field, and then I don't need to do anything here. Okay, this custom sequence is very easy, it's very straightforward. You can try, and if you have any questions, you can email me or email Hajar, and we gladly reply to you and explain it better. Okay. But again, as we spend one webinar, entire webinar, just to set a sequence for our mine, we won't waste time here anymore. And now let's go to create data set, our last step. So here, because everything that we did in reserve ribbon, the software generates a file. And when I create a new data set and save them, all those changes are saved in this folder. Okay, we can click here, for instance, and click on view, and the software will open for us. Let me bring the folder, the path, and where is the folder is all my files. So this is very important because it keeps you allows you to organize your work. If you're doing a mine schedule by monthly, you have different topographies by each month. So you generate November schedule here, and then you change your topography, and then you go through everything again, and then create a new data set called December, and then January, February, and so on. So this is very important. So once you save this, you cannot change it anymore. So you need to create a new one, but you can delete. Okay, it allows you to delete your data set. So if you commit a mistake, delete and create a new one. And so for instance, if you change your mining block, if the geologist sends you a different mining block, you don't need to create your solids again. You just change your setup here, as we did at the beginning, and then just change your reserves here. So, because everything will be the same, apparently. So you just need to follow this step to here. Okay, don't need to create all your blocks again, all your base solids again, and phase solids. Just click here, and everything is fine. So that's it. That's what I planned for today. Thank you very much for your attention. Here's my email, is Hajar's email.